and welcome back to the Adventure News Network. I am your host, Amy. I've never done that before, and I don't know why I'm doing it today, but today's broadcast is actually a very important one. So we're going to talk about some Sims news in a second. It's going to be really cool. There's some pretty hot Sims tea, actually, so definitely make sure to stick around for that. Some drama, I guess, in the Sims community that's kind of having a big impact on the community at large. But first, we need to talk about SAG-AFTRA is going on strike, specifically in the video game industry related to video game voiceover and, to my understanding, video game mocap. So there are some important things that you need to know. So video game performers are stuck in a grind. AI is stealing voices and companies are hoarding profits. The future of voiceover and performance capture artists is at stake, but our fight isn't single player. We need you on our team. So they are providing some sample social messages and things like that, but there are some important FAQs that I have got pulled up here. So SAG-AFTRA is striking this contract so that members working in interactive media, so video games, can continue earning a living doing the job that they love. Our members' work and likenesses are being exploited by artificial intelligence, and video game companies have refused to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered in this contract in their AI language. So basically, to dumb that down, what is happening is that video game companies are taking voice actors' voices. So like, you know, when someone does any voice in a game. So, you know, some of the most famous game voices, the VAs and, you know, I mean, the VAs in Palia. I don't know if Palia falls under this in particular. Don't quote me on that one, but like the VAs in Palia, the VAs in like every video game you've ever, anyone who does a voice, all those famous VAs, even whenever VAs in like Skyrim or like Assassin's Creed, all video game voice actors. Basically what is happening is these game companies are taking their voices and then using AI to replicate their voices. That way they can essentially get more work out of the actor without paying them for it. And also they're doing the same thing with mocap. They're taking mocap actors' performances and they are using AI, generative AI, to create more performance without paying the actor. So obviously, I'm sure you can tell this is a really big problem. Like, it's a genuinely really big problem. This is not the first time that SAG has striked this kind of thing before. Obviously, we all remember the very long strike that happened last year, I believe, with the actors and the writers in the film industry. And so now the video game industry is striking. And honestly, I feel like this is a really long time coming. Video game voice actors and mocap actors, and even video game developers, like the actual devs who work on the game itself, have honestly been treated like dirt for a really long time. And so I'm not surprised at all that they're trying to negotiate this kind of thing. I knew this was coming, but it's a really big deal. So here's some information so you guys can know. So for creators and streamers, how can I show support for the striking video game performers? So unfortunately, compensation to performers has stagnated in real value due to inflation. The unregulated use of artificial intelligence threatens the careers of professional actors and the video game industry, and members' physical safety has lacked necessary protective provisions for far too long. If you love video games and the performers in them, please take a look at our list of ways you can show your support below. So you can share via any social media. I'm obviously sharing via this video right now. Include hashtag level up the contract and hashtag video game strike in your message of support and solidarity. They have a digital toolkit. They're also recommending for people with wider reach than me to invite one of our video game performers to join your stream or show and use the opportunity to discuss the strike and what's at stake. And so they can help you connect with a performer that would be a good fit. And so this is really important because I'm sure you guys are all wondering what the picket lines are and things. Are creators and streamers being asked to stop playing certain video games? No. So we can keep playing video games with voice acting in them, and it's okay. We're not asking you to stop playing video games. In fact, the opposite. Please continue doing what you love, and any support and solidarity would be extremely appreciated. So to my understanding, based off of the way this kind of thing works, for non-members of SAG, which I'm obviously not a member of SAG, for non-members of SAG-AFTRA, they want them to continue playing the games, continue rallying hype around the games, to essentially make sure the producers know there is a demand for that video game, but also it's going to put pressure on them to negotiate a deal faster, because if they want to continue to meet that demand, then they need to negotiate a deal with the voice actors, and like with SAG-AFTRA, in order order to achieve what they need to do. So like continuing to play the games, continuing to buy games and talk about them as long as you're a non-union member is important, because it means that it's putting pressure on the game developers to respond to the strike faster. So that's kind of the thing. If I was voice acting in a video game, I would not be doing this. One of the, and I'll talk about the VAs I support in a moment. But one of the VAs I follow, Alejandro Saab, who voices in Genshin and several Hoyo games, as well as a lot of other video games and anime. He is not able to play Struck games right now, just because they want to make sure that he does not cross the picket line and promote things that they are picketing actively. But it is because he actively voices in them, and I do not, so it's okay. And then I think, let's see, so how can you show support for the striking game performers? You can amplify our message using Level Up the Contract, Video Game Strike, and SAG-AFTRA Strong. And they also have like an entire press kit, which is kind of amazing. It was on this page. They have a whole press kit with these amazing graphics and stuff for profile photos. You can use social media graphics. I will probably post some of these later. I'm gonna maybe try to do this on Monday, just to talk about supporting them and penning some posts and stuff. But I think it's amazing that they're providing these images. It's a really big deal. I think it's been a long time coming. So I've talked about it a lot on the show before whenever I talk about like anime and stuff, but I'm a huge fan of a lot of voice actors. I kind of started my obsession with a lot of anime voice actors back in the day, and I had a Critical Role phase, and there are a bunch of famous voice actors, and then now I am a really big fan of a lot of Hoyo related voice actors. So they make Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, ZZZ, things like that. I'm a big fan of a lot of them. Alejandro Saab, oh gosh, I don't remember his last name, but Ben, there's a whole bunch of VAs that I'm a really big fan of, that I like watch their streams, I listen to them talk. I mean, Amelie Monarch is also a VA who does different things for Hoyo games. I'm a huge fan and supporter of all of them, and yes, it's extremely concerning that AI is being used to steal their work and their likeness so that they will not get paid. This is their livelihood, and it's extremely important for them to be able to push back and negotiate better rights, and also better pay for themselves, because they do not get paid enough. I guarantee you they do not get paid enough. Like, it's negotiated on an individual basis from my understanding, but they do not get paid enough. And some of these voice actors and stuff are taking a really serious risk striking, especially at this time of year, because the actor strike went on for like, oh god, it went on for like 6-8 months. It was so long, and I hope and pray that this one will not take as long and that they will negotiate sooner, because I feel like that's just very important. And I hope they don't have to sit there all the way into Christmas, because this is, again, their livelihood. Many of them don't do, at least the ones that I know, don't do just video games. They do some like anime and stuff too, so they have sources of income. But like Sayu, the one that I watch the most, he is going to be missing the Natlin release in Genshin. So there's a big release that's happening over the summer, and he will probably not be able to play it on launch because of the strike, because he's supporting the strike, and I think as he should. But yeah, we support, which, just in case there's any ambiguity here, we support striking. We support strikes here. We support strikes. We support unions. We support that kind of thing. So anyway, that is the vibe with that. So hi, oh my god, I do not, is that Silver? Sorry. It's cutting off here after like months. Yeah, I know. Okay, we'll finish the game show and then we'll talk in just a second. I'm talking about, so Silver, I don't know if you know, but SAG-AFTRA is striking in the video game industry, which is really huge. They announced it like yesterday, I think. So that's a really big deal. So we covered that. The other thing that we're going to cover just really quickly is we're going to cover that The Sims did just do a new base game update. And in particular, this base game update is pretty important because it's related around romance, and they made a lot of really important adjustments in the game. Their new pack, their new expansion pack, the Love Struck expansion pack is related around romance, and so they made a lot of changes in the base game that I think are important. So they have created something called romantic boundaries. So this is really interesting. So basically what it means is that you can basically update whether or not your sim is willing to have an open relationship or not. So essentially your sim it basically says, do they become jealous from, their partner woohooing someone else, or having physical romance or non-physical romance? You can update these in their preferences. And so if you do that, then that basically means that your sims can be polyamorous. and they can have open relationships and that kind of thing, which is a very big update for the game. The game's not had anything like that for a very, very, very long time. So that's cool. And you can also hide relationships, which is interesting. You can also, another big update that they did is that the language for Sims relationships is now more neutral to be more inclusive. So instead of saying husband and wife, it'll say spouse. Instead of saying fiance or fiancé, whatever, it says engaged, and then boyfriend and girlfriend has become partner. Which is, I think, actually pretty good to kind of give that neutralness. They added some eyelashes, which people have some kind of controversial opinions about. This is huge, though. They said, so they have this, which is that this is enormous. So they have now updated a button that says apply to all outfits. So you know how before, when you gave a Sim a pair of earrings, you would have to go through every single outfit for the Sim and manually pick the earrings every single time? Well, this time it actually gives it to you where you can go through and select them all, like from one window, and you don't have to go through and do it manually, which, thank God. Oh my God. It has been so long and we've needed this so bad. I am very, very, very excited about that. It's going to make building in Cache just infinitely easier, because it was so tedious to have to go manually apply, like glasses. If your Sim has glasses, you have to put them on and manually every single time. So that's pretty huge. And then I think they have a couple of hairstyles they updated, I think. This is cool. They have some dark and lovely hairstyle partnership. They have a color variants of the new lock braids, which is exciting. I think they collaborated with other Simmers for that. And they've got some more fingernail polish and curved pools. That's kind of exciting. But I think the main stuff is just the romantic things. I think it's really cool that they changed the partner thing to be gender neutral. I think it's also really cool that they've updated romantic boundaries. I think it's a good step in the right direction to allow your Sim to have open relationships. I will say, I don't talk about it super often, but as someone who identifies as, so they don't have polyamorous marriage yet. That's not something that you can do where you can have polyamorous marriage. So that's, I think, a thing that they're going to need to add or update in the future that would be really important. This is sort of like an open relationship kind of situation versus like having a polycule or a closed group of like 3 people who want to be married or in a committed partnership, or 4 people or 5. And as someone who, I don't talk about it super often, but I do identify as polyamorous, I think this is a step in the right direction. I do really wish they had added to be able to do poly marriages, though, or poly committed relationships of some kind. I do feel like this is a bit of a weird backwards workaround and more aimed at open relationships versus like closed relationships, which there's nothing wrong with open relationships. I think that's totally fine, but I'm the kind of person who would prefer closed relationships. So I feel like they're maybe missing that a little bit, but I'm sure they're going to add it in the future. Considering they took the step now, they're probably working on it. The coding is just probably kind of complicated. So I hope they add that in the future, but some other hot tea that we have to cover, that's something, and then we're going to be done with the news. I know this is a long news show. Some other hot tea that we have to cover, and then we'll be done, is that, so here's the thing, right? So normally the EA has something called EA Game Changers, and what they are is, I believe that's what it's called. Oh God, I think it is. Anyway, but basically what it is that they have certain creators who are partnered with them, and they provide them the packs for free so that they then can go in and do a review of them. And this is really normal. It's a PR thing, and it's, you know, been something they've been doing literally for years. Like it's been they've been doing this for a long time. And normally they provide these packs for free, and the creators don't have to give a good review. They can give whatever review they want. But this time they did something a little bit different that has caused a very big stir in the creator community where people are really upset. And I'll just let Simsy tell you herself, because she gave sort of the best overview of it, I think, that I've seen so far.
This is my full review of the new Love Struck expansion pack for The Sims 4. I was offered an opportunity to play with this pack super early thanks to the EA Creator Network, but it worked a little bit differently this time compared to past packs. They wouldn't let people participate in this early access unless—
Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to put these on. on. There we go.
They agreed to be paid $100 for a sponsored gallery post. I really did not want to be paid anything related to a new expansion pack because I feel like a lot of people already think that EA is like paying me to say nice things about their game and I'm being paid off. So I think any sort of money exchange really harms my credibility in people's eyes, and I was really frustrated about it. Like, tears were shed over this. It sounds dramatic, but for years in these videos I've been saying I'm not being paid, they just sent me the pack early, and now you're forcing me to accept this honestly insulting offer of money and then have to disclose that I'm being sponsored in every single video in early access. So I'm gonna make 10 plus videos with this pack and have to say I'm sponsored every single time because of that $100. I even had a call with them about it, but I didn't want to cause too much of a fuss and be like the problem person who forced them to work around me specifically. And maybe that was a mistake because I learned later that I think a couple of people did do that and had them find a workaround so they didn't have to get paid. But I had to make this decision when I was still in Chicago in the hospital with my grandma, and long story short, there's been a lot of heartache surrounding this pack, no pun intended, and I've been extremely stressed about this whole thing. So I was paid $100 and I'm getting a $40 game code for free. It would take a lot more than that to buy my opinion, and I would literally never lie to you about this kind of thing. So hopefully you understand that I'm always gonna be brutally honest in these reviews.
Okay, so basically the TLDR, from what you guys can tell, is that they basically forced every Sims creator who was going to do this to take an $100 sponsorship, kind of whether they wanted to or not. Obviously, some people got to negotiate it, but like the majority of them had to accept the $100 plus the game pack for free. And there's a lot of talk about this online about like what was happening. People's assumption is that lately the FTC has been cracking down on influencer promotions of people not disclosing that things are ads or that they've been provided for them for free, right? That's always been an issue on the internet. And the FTC's apparently been cracking down on that lately. And so basically what people are assuming is that they were worried about giving the code for free with nothing else, especially because like there was no money technically exchanged hands, and also like there's not like a record of money, and also this forces them to say like I've been sponsored by EA every single video, and I think maybe some smaller time creators were not doing that and they were worried about it. But to my understanding, to the way that Simsy has talked about it, the way some other creators have talked about it, I don't think the EA explained that to them. I think they just said, hey, here's the rules, take it or leave it. And poor Simsy, her grandma was in the hospital when all this was going on. They thought she might pass away. It was very stressful for her, so that's why she didn't like talk to them about it more. But also, a lot of people are talking about $100 is a frankly insulting amount of money. Like, if they're gonna force creators to accept money for their thing, like, I think it came down to, like, she made, like, 6 videos, I think, on it, like, 6 official videos with the early access stuff. That comes down to, like, $2.50 like a minute or something, which is like, or like it was like, I remember like 100 split like 6 ways or whatever. It was basically like $20. It's basically insulting. Simsy has like 3 million subscribers and like 3 million followers on Twitter. I don't even know how, but she has so much, and that's a tiny amount of money and compensation compared to what she's worth. And so like it's like if you're gonna force them to take money anyway, why would you make them take such a small amount? So this did not go over super well. I'll be interested to see what they do the next time they do packs like these, and like if Simsy's able to negotiate. But that's kind of the tea. A lot of people are really unhappy, and yes, there are plenty of people saying, okay, well, she's faking her reviews because see, she's getting paid. We always knew it. Like, that kind of sucks because I don't think she does. She's pretty vicious with her reviews on these packs. Honestly, I think she hypes them up a little bit, but like also so do I. As a content creator, it's kind of fun to hype stuff up. Like, it's fun to get excited about stuff that maybe later you look back and you're like, okay, maybe that wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be, but it's fun to hype stuff up sometimes. So anyway, I think that's going to be about to do it for today's news broadcast. Thank you. If you would like to react to this news with us live on Twitch and also play with the games that the news is usually about, please check out twitch.tv/Amy's_adventures or be on this YouTube channel whenever I am streaming, which as of right now, as of this recording, is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if that changes, that'll be in my about, so you can go check on that and everything. It'll be an about page at both platforms. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for this week's broadcast. Next week's broadcast is going to be some more Palia news because we have the new Palia update. So remember to stay tuned for that. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you next time.